Here's the thing. Let's see if I can say this thought straight out. I don't believe in herd immunity. I don't believe that any of us is a member of a herd. And to some extent, we all have a soul, a complete individual soul. But after the last 5 years since COVID hit in March 2020, and now it's June 2025, I haven't been able to put into words what's happening, but I don't believe in vaccine communion. That's the easiest way to say it at this point. And I guess I never did. And because I didn't believe in their communion, and as we all know, the constant barrage telling people that we would all be succeed if we all took this communion they were talking about giving us, and that if we took it, the herd, we would all be saved. So I've come to the conclusion that it was calculated, and they're using religious terms, the holiest religious terms, against us. Against us. Because in the name of vaccine communion, they get rid of the Nuremberg Code, the Fourth Amendment, the right of informed consent and the right of refusal. They got rid of HIPAA laws, privacy laws, medical privacy laws. So you had to show a card to go to a restaurant. They got rid of the Hippocratic Oath, and they got rid of the UN Declaration on Human Rights, all in the name of taking a vaccine communion that would dispensate the whole herd. If we all acted the same way, we would be saved. Now, I didn't realize it at the time because I was just viscerally reacting, regarding, that these safeguards since World War II, and, way back, Hippocratic Oath and Fourth Amendment, that I was, not just me, but especially children under 35, was scapegoated. And as Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, has pointed out, that it was the Biden administration's policy to designate people like me, or even, people 35 or under, who just decided not to take it, or, not lose, they didn't care if they lost their job. It even came to that. The administration mandated it on everybody. But so Tulsi has uncovered and shown that the administration's policy was to brand people like me, as domestic violent extremists, DVIs. And so when you had Ralph Nader and Noam Chomsky, and then you had Gene Simmons from KISS and Howard Stern, that guy, those guys have free speech, but when I and other people exercised our free speech, we were branded. So what really happened was that they used the church language, not just vaccine communion or herd immunity, but they excommunicated, declared anathema people who chose a different route and who knew they weren't in that morbidity class, which was basically everybody under 50 was not in danger. And the amazing part of this, though, too, them using their religious terms, was that they even lied to the Pope, who seemed not to, Pope Francis, not to have an understanding of European history, or the Nazis, Goebbels, Himmler, Hitler, their tactics. And so, the final point was that even the Pope shamed bishops who had gotten or cardinals who had gotten COVID and who had gotten quite sick but survived, for just simply choosing not to take a medical procedure that they were not allowed to opt out from. I worked for recreational equipment at the time, the opt-outside company, the company that, acknowledges 37 genders. These same people, these same organizations, REI, run by former military Eric Arts, hundreds of stores nationwide, wouldn't allow me to dissent. And again, it's not about me. Wouldn't allow people under 40 to dissent, and it wouldn't even allow people to know that they weren't in the morbidity class. And it was no holds barred. They redefined the word vaccination for children under 40. And then they went so far as to say, if you love your grandmother, you'll get this shot as an act of kindness, which is absurd on its face, because vaccinations when I was a kid, I took 3 to 5, I guess, you don't get the pathogen if you take the vaccination. So when they started masking people after giving them the 2 vaccinations in March, April, and early May, and then when Fauci and Birx and Biden came out in July and said, well, there's some breakthrough cases, there's going to be a third shot. They called it a booster. Fauci needs a booster. Chicken Little Fauci spent, years inciting fear into the American people, all of us. And what's the strangest thing about the whole canard, which it really was, is that everyone got COVID while believing in vaccination. But it wasn't ever a vaccination. So the new generation was given a new definition of vaccination. Well, it doesn't work. Your first 2 didn't work. Well, take another, it'll help. Instead of saying to themselves at some point, wait, what does vaccination mean? And have we been had? Which we had been had. So there's a lot of feelings right there, because it really isn't about me. I'm 65. I'll probably be checking out in the next 10 years. Who knows? But the next generation is being given a new definition of vaccination, which used to mean prevents. President Obama changed it in 2015 under his CDC, and then Biden weakened it again in September 2021, probably the same day, September 10th, when he mandated the shot on all employees of companies with 100 or more employees. And so to resist that, I guess this is the final point, and I'm not asking for sympathy, but to resist that and to counsel other people that they weren't in danger and they didn't need the shot, and then to be labeled a domestic violent extremist. And then Governor Baker and Maura Healey go so far as to try to remove the religious exemption, which it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. You can be an atheist or agnostic. You can opt out. So they memory hold everything, all the safeguards, the Nuremberg Code, the Fourth Amendment, HIPAA laws, which is complete privacy. They got us showing cards, to go into a grocery store or into a restaurant in Boston and Cambridge. So there's a new game going on that, I guess I'm naive. But to call someone an anti-vaxxer who just questions, hey, it used to be 5 shots, on the childhood schedule, and now it's 60 to 92 to get out of high school. And to call people who ask questions and being told don't ask questions, trust the science, when these companies have no liability because of the Reagan law from 1986. So long dead men in Congress and the President Reagan are ruling us now. It's the only industry in the world, or in the United States at least, according to attorney Aaron Siri, that has no liability if they injure you with their products. So it's this, really, we're stuck in 1984 where the media double speaks. It tells us not to believe our ears or our eyes, but to comply. And so at this point, I'm not going to comply, and I'm not just about me. I don't think anyone should comply. I think we should just leave it up to God when we're going to have our last breath, and stop scaring the next generation regarding the environment, regarding death, changing definitions all over the place. You wonder why we're confused. They have confused us.